take a walk on the woo-woo side with me. My name is Michelle Douglas and I am on a mission to help you to step into your power so that you can create the life you desire. Visit me at empoweredlifeprograms.com to learn more. Hello. And today we're talking about what happens when you chase a man. Now, the word chases can be taken a couple of different ways. So I'm going to give a couple of examples of what I'm talking about here. And a lot of people use the word chase, which is why I've used it, but it's not like you're literally running after a guy, right, as he tries to escape you. But anyway, so I'm going to give a couple of examples. So I was talking to a lady, last week, I think it was, and she'd had one date with him and was complaining that he had dropped off a little, and now she was the only one initiating. I'm like, you've just had one date. And anyway, so I said to her, well, you've got to stop overdoing it. She goes, well, I'm only texting him once or twice a day. I'm like, oh. And he's not responding, right? So if you look at it, if you take a step back and look at this situation, she's texting him once or twice every single day. And he's slowing down in his responses. What does that tell you? So in effect, she's chasing him, okay? And what it's doing is turning him off. Like, she's in that constantly reaching out to him, and therefore in her masculine. And if he's a masculine man, it's going to turn him off because she's doing his job and not being being sensual receiver of the affection and love and everything else, right? Whereas he obviously he seemed really keen to start with, but then when she started this daily initiation and reaching out to him and stepping into a masculine every day, he's going whoa every single time. And I can see it so often. It's like, why is he cutting down his contact? Why isn't he responding all the time? And it's like, well, you're initiating in the first few days first few I guess months of being with someone. The initiation should be rare. Like, if you're going to reach out to a guy, like when I was with Laurie, when we first met, I never initiated, and he went away for a weekend, I think it was a weekend, and he had been calling and texting and everything else, and I was always responding and everything else. But then one morning I thought, you know what, I'm just going to send him a good morning selfie sort of thing. So I did. I was in my garage, took a photo, sent it to him, and that was the only time I initiated contact with him. When he got back, he said to me, it was really weird. I went, what? And he said, you weren't blowing up my phone. I went, well, no, you were away with your friend. Like I wasn't going to impose on that apart from the good morning. He goes, no, that was good. But he actually found it refreshing that he didn't have someone constantly blowing up his phone. Now, I spoke to another woman this morning who I've got written down here. She had been, she's been seeing a guy and he's been pulling back from her. And she says that she waits on him hand and foot and does all the housework, the yard work, washes the car, and she's doing everything for this guy. And he's obviously gone. So I said to her, looks to me like you're over functioning, which is the waiting on him hand and foot, and that she's therefore stepping into the masculine role. I'm just looking at my notes here so I can tell you what I told this woman. And I said, if he's a masculine man, this will subconsciously turn him off and he won't be inspired to win you, because men are all about, they're wired differently. And I know the feminists are going to hate my guts for saying all of this, but we are biologically wired very differently. Men are wired for the hunt, right? To win the woman over. Whereas the women are the ones who are more I think I've written it in here. Hang on, I'll read this out in a minute. So I said that all healthy relationships require the masculine and feminine polarity, And you can't have two masculine and you can't have two feminine people in the relationship, because it just doesn't work. And there's a whole reason behind that, which I think I may have mentioned in a previous episode. But I used to be very much in my masculine, and I've therefore been divorced twice, right? So I was, again, the example of what not to do with relationships and marriage and everything else. And we all possess masculine and feminine energies as well. And this is what I told her, but we tend to be more dominant in one than the other. And that way you can maintain that masculine, feminine polarity in the relationship. So usually it'll be the man, obviously, mostly in the masculine, and the woman in the feminine. And even in same-sex relationships, you'll find that one will be more dominant in the masculine, the other one in the feminine. And that will usually work out quite well, okay? As long as you've got the polarity. If they're both the same, you're going to butt heads or nothing will get done, basically. So then I said, look, the only way to resolve her issue with this man is to start leaning way back and embrace the feminine role of being in the feeling, expressing, sensual, and receiving energies, which is the feminine energies. So in other words, it's time to stop doing so much for this man. The doing is what we call the chasing, okay? And I don't even like that. With where a man is leading, like, I don't see that as a man chasing. I see it as a man leading the way, okay? Now, if she's in the masculine, he's not inspired to make an effort to do anything to win her over, because she's basically doing his job for him. So time to start letting him be the thinking, action-oriented, decision-making, masculine giving partner, and to see what happens. And she came back to me saying, she goes, I hate what you said. Because I didn't want to read that, but she wants to save the relationship because she really loves him. And then she said that she was brought up very much to be masculine. And she's been the protector, provider, and alpha right from childhood. So she's been programmed to be a certain way since she was really young. So it's not like she's doing this on purpose. She just doesn't know any better. But she said that what I said made a lot of sense and could have explained her two past failed marriages. And the new partner's extremely masculine, and she's realized that she maybe needs to try stepping into her feminine and just see what happens. And so I basically said to her that, yeah, it's the reason my two marriages failed. And after the second one ended, I realized I was the common element, and I wanted to know what I was doing wrong. So then I obviously found the coach that taught me about the masculine and feminine dynamic. And although it was really hard to step into that feminine and out of the masculine, it completely changed the way I related to pretty much anyone, even women. Like, even in my job and everything else, when I stepped into that feminine, I was able to get a lot more done, because I was working in a very much male dominated area at the time. And I had them wrapped around my little finger by being in my feminine, and they would do stuff for me that they wouldn't do for someone else. So yeah, I was doing well. But yeah, so for this particular woman, she's basically chasing her man by waiting on him hand and foot and doing all of the work in the household while he sits back and ultimately gets turned off, because he's basically living with a woman or another man really, who just looks like a woman. So this is what happens when you chase a man. You're in your masculine, and if he's masculine as well, he will ultimately be turned off, and he will offer you just enough crumbs to keep you around if it serves him. Otherwise, you'll be gone. So I'll leave you with that. It's a bit of a ramble on my part, but I'm very passionate about this because it was a big, long-winded mistake that I made in my previous relationships that burnt me really badly. And once I learned how to step into my feminine and embrace that aspect of myself, it completely changed everything. And now with Laurie, I'll sometimes slip into the masculine, and I see him take a step back when I do. And it's not like it's an obvious thing, and he's probably not even conscious he's doing it, but I see it because I'm so aware of it. And I know straight away I can flip that switch, go back into the feminine, everything's fine. So yeah, so I'll leave you with that, and I will see you tomorrow.